Now, this is day 10. I'll be sharing the insight that I have on Claude Code. So the first one is Claude Code tends to prefer to make a new file or a new script to accomplish the task over editing the existing scripts or files. Now, this causes a huge problem for version controlling, or not just version controlling, because you can control versions with Git, right? It piles up different versions with different names, like basic, enhance, unified. So you see, it unifies the basic and enhance into the unified file. But those three files coexist in the code base. And that causes a lot of problem because we don't only have one function in the code base. And the problem is other functions will be referencing different versions of the code of one function, and it piles up into a spaghetti bowl, and that just doesn't work. And cleaning up that code is a huge headache. It's not just like asking Claude to clean it up, because it has its potential, but it has its own problem. It doesn't really understand the holistic view if you don't clarify everything. Now, that's a very major problem. So I started to observe more closely on what Claude is doing instead of just going on full autopilot mode. And it made the project more time consuming. And after I've upgraded into the Claude Code Max with $200, it seems not to worth that much anymore. Maybe the $100 will worth it, because when I have to observe and confirm every file or edits that it is making, it takes time and it kind of stops the workflow. So we don't need that much token. Now, this can be optimized, and I think by improving the guidance or things will improve, but I have to test it out. Now, the second thing is Claude Code sometimes just does not want to read the claude.md file. Now, making the claude.md file lean and clean is a very good practice. However, when our project grows, the claude.md file sometimes just grows simultaneously, because you have to reference or make more rules for it to follow. Now, I think maybe I'm using the claude.md wrong, the rules wrong. I'm gonna have to try things out, but for now, I've I prompted. I went into the config and typed or prompted to read and confirm that it will follow the claude.md file every single time I give it a new prompt. So it gives a check in front of a checkbox and says that it will follow the claude.md file. And it does not seem to work. So that is a second problem. It doesn't follow rules that you give it. Now, by following up the answer or the practice that it did, like saying that, did you follow the rules? Asking it questions that, did it follow the rules? It will answer back that it did not, and it will go back to the code and change things to follow the rules. But that is a follow-up question, and I'd love it to hit a home run in the first at bat, right? But it did not, and that is another huge problem. Now, the third part is using Claude Code is kind of memory consuming. So I like to open up multiple terminals. However, it piles up the RAM pretty fast. I have a 16 gig basic M4 Mac Mini. It runs smoothly, but it's now consistently swapping memories with the SSD. Now I do have Docker running, and there's a lot going on in a Docker, so I don't have that much RAM to work with. Maybe 6 to 8 gigs consistently, but Claude Code just piles up like 16 gigs of RAM that some are swapped, some are compressed. Apple has a really good compression for this. And yeah, so 16 gigs compressed and swapped. So it does pile up the memory. Then when your code expands, your code base expands, we really run into the context limit more often. Now it does depends on your claude.md file. So making it lean and efficient will be a crucial part that to stay out of the context limit, and make sure that you compact or plan your task each time, so you won't run into the context limit, because running into the context limit will increase the hallucination of Claude Code, and that just doesn't end up great. The hallucination will corrupt your code. So that's 3 major problems that I had with Claude Code. Each are I'm trying to solve. I will share my code. I will share the prompt. If you would like me to share the prompt that I use, you can comment below. I'll provide the link. For now, the most valuable prompt I have for Claude Code is claude.md initial file. Now you can duplicate it and prompt Claude Code to set it up custom to your project, and it will, if Claude Code follows the rules, it will provide you the clean code and a clean architecture. Stay clean and stay within the naming rules. So no basic blah blah blah, intense blah blah blah, and or unified blah blah blah. Now that is I've put that into the rules. However, I've not tested that frequently. I mean, I've not thoroughly tested, but I think it's a nice initializing for Claude Code. So that will be it today. See you tomorrow.